For a lot of couples, staying in is the new going out. And for me, there's nothing better when staying home on the weekend is cooking your partner a scrumptious 3-course meal. So today I'm going to share with you a delicious but simple 3-course dinner. For course 1, we're going to make a nice, easy, clean tasting Italian bruschetta, and you can cook that well ahead. And for the main attraction, we're going to be cooking a nice, juicy sirloin steak accompanied with a dead simple pan sauce. And to accompany that steak, I'm going to be cooking some delicious double cooked duck fat oven chips. And for a bit of greenery on that plate, just some simple green beans. And to complement those 2 courses, if you have enough room, I'll be finishing off with a nice, easy, light chocolate mousse. I've set this whole meal to help you with timings. Most of it you can cook ahead, and that will leave you more time to sup vino with your loved one. Right, let's get on and make that chocolate mousse and get it in the fridge to set. The ingredients are 100 grams of dark chocolate, 240 ml of double or heavy cream, and a handful of marshmallows. I've used about 15. Right, let's give this chocolate a good old battering, mash it up, melt it like you don't care about it. Here I'll combine my marshmallows and the chocolate with 3 tablespoons of double or heavy cream. Right, this is technical stuff. Let's put that in the microwave and nuke it for 2 minutes. Okay, mine took 1 minute 40 seconds, so do keep your eye on it. Different microwaves, timings will vary, so combine that well, and we're going to let this cool to room temperature, which should take about 40 minutes. Next, you want to whip the remainder of your cream to stiff peaks. That's how mine looks. You can use a hand whisk, you can use an electric whisk. It's entirely up to you. Be prepared for a bit of elbow grease if you haven't got an electric mixer though. So all I've done is transferred 2 heaped teaspoons into a separate ramekin just to pop on our lovely chocolate mousses, just to decorate. Okay, I'll pop this in the fridge until my chocolate is cooled. Right, my chocky has cooled down to room temperature. Here is my cream. I'm going to fold half of that in bit by bit, or half and half, and work from the outside in and fold the rest in. Keep folding until that cream is combined with that lovely, beautiful chocky. Once folded in, transfer to your prettiest little ramekins, glasses, cups, whatever you want to use. I've gone for the retro look today. We've got that reserve cream that we kept in the fridge in that ramekin. Just going to top that off with a little bit of that. Oh, look at that. And this is entirely up to you. Top with some little chocolate buttons or some shaved chocolate, whatever takes your fancy. And I'm going to put these in the fridge for at least 3 hours, but even better if you wanted to, you could do this the day before and put them to set overnight. So let's do it. Now for the bruschetta ingredients, and thanks to Natasha's Kitchen for this recipe. So 4 good sized tomatoes, fresh basil, 5 garlic cloves, a splash of balsamic vinegar, and about 3 to 5 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil. Next, let's dice those tomatoes. You need a very good chef's knife. If you've not got much faith in your knife, I suggest that you use a knife with a serrated edge. Much easier. Again, on my channel, as I say regularly, this isn't MasterChef, they don't have to be perfect. Don't try and squeeze down on that tomato too much. So just slice a little bit off each end. And we're going to cut down, not quite through, in small increments. I'm going to turn it to the side, do the same again. Not quite through the tomato, just to hold it together. It's oozing juice now, just pop it now on its top and dice. Again, it don't have to be perfect, it's just going on a bit of toast. And repeat that process with the rest of the tomatoes. Once you've diced, just transfer that to a large bowl, and this is the start of our bruschetta. Next, let's chop this fresh, lovely basil. Now, don't chop the hell out of it, because if you do, you'll leave half the flavour on your chopping board. I'm going to show you the best way to do it. So all I've done is placed each leaf on top of the other. Just roll it up like a little cigar, bit of a Gordon Ramsay trick this is, but it's a very good one. And just simply slice nice and thinly. And that is simply that. Don't div it all out and keep chopping and chopping, because you'll just bruise it, and again you'll lose half your flavour. And because we haven't got much ingredients in this bruschetta, we need all the flavour we can muster. Let's pop that in with our professionally, dare I say, diced tomato. I call it professional because I didn't get any of it in my face as I cooked down it. Right, now for 5 cloves of garlic. Now what I'm going to do with this is get a box grater and just grate it. Feel free to finely chop it if you wish, or use a garlic crusher, but I think for this I'm going to grate it. Next, grab yourself a ramekin, and we're going to get some extra virgin olive oil, the best quality you can get your hands on, about 2 tablespoons. In we pop. A little bit of this garlic. This is going to be our garlic infused olive oil, so we'll let that sit until we're ready for it. Grab your tomato and basil mixture and pop the rest of that garlic in. Now we'll go in with a little bit of extra virgin, some salt, and some nice freshly ground black pepper. Let's combine that well. Look at that, beautiful. Get that garlic mixed in as best we can. I recommend that you do this no more than probably an hour and a half before you want to serve it, just so it stays nice and fresh. Right, let's make these toasts. I've got just a standard baton. You can use a baguette, whatever you want to call it. Just a baton for me today. It's got to be nice and crusty. Just before you start to do this, preheat your oven to 200 degrees C. What we're going to do now is just go in at an angle, like that thick, just to make them a little bit prettier, a little bit more pleasing on the eye. And just cut for as many toasts as you require. I'm going to do 2 each. Okay, remember we say this garlic infused olive oil? This is what we're using it for, so generously coat the toasts with that deliciously scented garlic olive oil. And we'll do the same with the other side. Next, this is entirely optional, but once you give me an option of Parmesan cheese, I'm blooming taking it. Right, let's bake this in this preheated oven for about 5, 6 or 7 minutes. And 8 minutes later, here we are, and just look at that. Smells awesome. Let's just top with a little bit of that tomato, basil, garlic, olive oil, balsamic vinegar. It's just perfect. Just doesn't get any simpler. I'm going to cheat a little bit here and use like a shop bought balsamic dressing. You can make your own if you want, it's up to you, but I'm making it as simple as I can. And that is your starter. Now it's time to get organised, and these are the ingredients for our pan sauce heavy double cream, about 125 mils. Here I've mixed 1 stock cube with 300 mils of boiling water, and we're going to only use half of that, so we're going to use 150. It's totally your choice, it's up to you today. I'm going to use some marsala, about 100 mils of that. You could use red wine, you could use brandy, whatever you want really. Next is the Dijon mustard. We'll have a teaspoon of that. Next, and last but not least, 2 teaspoons of ground black pepper. I did this with a pestle and mortar, but if you haven't got one of them, just get busy with a standard grinder and grind away. Okay, we really want to make the most out of our time and resource, so we're going to be doing things in different orders. So grab yourself any all-rounder potato, Maris Piper, whatever you want to use. And we're just going to chip these spuds, just take the edges off, just to make these look a little bit prettier. It is date night after all. We do lose a little bit of potato, but hey, so that's squared off almost nicely. So this is going to be the thickness of our chip. Just straight down the middle, and away we go. And again, Next, let's rinse as much starch as we can off these potatoes. The more starch you pull off, the better those chips will be as an end result. So the more work you put in, the better. So rinse these for about 3 or 4 minutes. Okay, now we're going to parboil our potatoes for about 7 to 8 minutes, as long as we dare. So I've got some water on the boil here. It's going to go in with a little bit of salt, just to start that seasoning process. And in we go with our rinsed, chipped potatoes. Pop that up to the boil. And again, a rolling boil for 7 to 8 minutes. We're going to break them up as much as we dare. Okay, my chips are parboiled down enough to almost starting to break up. This has been about 10 minutes, so I'm going to transfer these to a wire rack. Now, I only recommend that you do this about 2 hours before you're going to put them in the oven, because when they sit in the fridge, they will start to oxidize and they will lose the color a little bit, but you're all right for about 3 hours. So again, it's a good cook ahead strategy. And with the magic of editing, here they are looking a little bit slightly more uniform, and you can see they're trying to break up. You need to push these potatoes down as much as you dare. I'm going to let these cool to room temperature, and I'm going to place them in the fridge until we're ready to put them in the oven. Now it's time for my favourite part, the main course. So firstly, let's get the oven preheated to 200 degrees Celsius. And the next really important part is whatever steaks you're using. I'm using sirloin tonight, and get them steaks out of the fridge and let's get them up to room temperature. Okay, grab yourself a good baking tray. Here I'm using duck fat, as I mentioned earlier, but if you don't want to use this, feel free to use vegetable oil or olive oil, but you're going to get better results with this duck fat, and a good healthy 2 tablespoons. And let's pop that in the oven to get it heated up. My duck fat should be now smoking hot. Just be careful throwing these chips in, sizzling as they go in. And we'll go in with some salt, a wee bit of pepper, and this is purely optional, just to liven them up with a little bit of oregano, just a little tad, little sprinkle. That's really important that we coat these chips in all that fat, if not they will burn. We don't want that, so we want perfect chips to go with our sirloin steak. And now we'll go in the oven for 15 minutes, and we'll give them a turn, and it's that point we'll look at cooking our steak. Our chips have only got 5 minutes to go, so when they are cooked, we're going to drop that temperature on the oven to 80 degrees to keep them warm. So let's get these steaks in. Hit that pan with some vegetable oil. Olive oil will burn too easily, so we don't want that to happen. So vegetable or sunflower oil. So fat side down first, just for about 20 seconds, and then we can get it caramelized as well. Now just look at that colour of that fat. I'm going to lay it down. Same again for that side, look. And we're going to fry for about 2 to 3 minutes per side from medium to medium rare. 2 minutes are up. Here we go. Look at that colour on that. Absolutely phenomenal. We'll give it about another minute and a half on that side, and we'll just fry the edges, the front edges, and we're done. Can't even begin to tell you how important it is to rest steaks almost for as long as you've cooked them. So get yourself a plate ready with some foil, and we can let them rest for about 4 or 5 minutes while we get on with other stuff. While our steaks are resting, let's get that pan on a medium heat and go in with that booze, whether you're using marsala or red wine or brandy. Just be careful that doesn't flame when you put it in that pan. We're just going to burn that alcohol off, and at the same time scraping those gnarly bits what them steaks have left as we've cooked them, because that is liquid gold. So we're just going to burn this alcohol off for about 30 seconds. If you don't do this, your sauce will taste too much of alcohol. So 30 seconds have passed. The alcohol is almost it's almost burnt off. It's almost gone to nothing. So we're going to go in with 150 ml of that beef stock and 100ml of that double cream. Give that a bit of a mix in. And here comes the pepper. It looks like a lot, but that's what we're looking for. And a teaspoon of Dijon. Don't use English for this because it will just ruin the sauce. We just want a nice subtle mustard. Mix that in. We're going to bring it to a boil and reduce it down to a consistency of our liking. Very important now that my chips in the oven are now at 80 degrees. They are cooked. They're just keeping warm while we make this pan sauce. By that time our steaks would have rested and we can dish up. While our sauce is just reducing down, in with those microwave green beans. I'm multitasking now. I'm pushing it. We're just going to fry those off for about a minute. So here's the main course. There's the steak, green beans, chips, and just I'm going to eat one of these off camera so you can hear it crunch. I'm not forgetting that black peppercorn sauce. It is kind of like an au poivre sauce, halfway there. I've not made the full version just to make life easier tonight. Look at that main course, it looks absolutely delicious. So that's steak au poivre, double cooked duck fat chips with some easy microwaved green beans. If you enjoyed this video, click the thumbs up. And remember, if you haven't already subscribed, please consider clicking that subscribe button. Just doing those two simple things really help my channel grow and also help me compete with the YouTube big guns. Hit that notification bell for when I upload more content. But for now, take care, keep safe, and I'll see you next time. Ta-ra.